Okay, so good morning, everyone. So my name is Tiago Costa, and I'll be here today speaking with you guys about how can you get started, okay, with Microsoft Azure. So this is a developer UK event session. I always like to start my sessions with, let's just say, kind of an icebreaker for you guys. Okay, so in terms of Azure, uh, if and it's like if for you guys it's really hard to wake up in the morning, okay, not for me because to be honest I really like to wake up in the morning and have a full day of stuff to do, but some people I know that it's kind of hard to wake up, and coffee, okay, just doesn't work for you guys. Okay, in the Azure world, try to delete a production resource group. Okay, I can tell you and I can guarantee you that if that doesn't wake you up, believe me that I really don't know what you need to wake up. So basically, my name is Tiago Costa, and I work as a cloud architect and advisor for the Microsoft Cloud. I'm a consultant. I help companies moving and shifting workloads to Azure. I work as an independent contractor, so I'm basically like a pirate. I'm the hire for the highest rate. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I have very good customers, and I like to work in partnership with all of them. Okay, but I'm also a trainer, so usually I help people to get certified on Azure and improving their knowledge on Azure. I'm also the author of some Microsoft courses and some courses on LinkedIn and other platforms. And I'm also a speaker, like in some events like here today, and in some others conferences like Microsoft Ignite, Build, so all those events. I'm an MVP for Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Certified Trainer, Regional Lead, etc. Okay, you have all my contacts here. So if you want to reach out, please do. Happy to help. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, also please do. I always get like some cool stuff to give away through my Twitter account, and I also share some cool stuff around Azure, around certifications for Azure, etc. Doing a DDD welcome, so be aware of others, be always friendly and patience with both the other attendees and the speakers, the organizers. They put a lot of effort in organizing all this events. Okay, so that's just a message that we want to pass. And also, if you want to read the full code of conduct, that's the bit.ly to get there. Also, another message, donate for the National Museum of Computing. There's that Just Giving campaign. So again, on the link, you can just find all the details and how to donate. And then we would like also to thank our sponsors. Without our sponsors, it's really hard, okay, to organize this kind of events. They really help a lot. So again, thank you very much for all the sponsors. Try to engage with them through the day. I'm sure they will enjoy that. And also make it social. We know this virtual experience. It's great. It's pretty cool. Opens the doors to people that cannot travel. So it's not all bad. Okay. And people that cannot afford to travel to the on-site event, sometimes they're like, I couldn't attend. And now we're opening the doors for those persons just to be able to participate. But of course, we know it's not the same thing as when we are like on site and I could see you guys, and now I'm just talking here to a piece of glass and plastic. It's definitely not the same thing. But well, let's try to engage. Okay, I have my Twitter open, so if you guys want, just share some stuff. Developer Day, DDD 2020, Tiago Costa PT is my own user, my own user from Twitter. So just interact, okay, and we'll have some fun during the next hour or so. So getting started with Azure. So the first bit that I want to talk about is I want to talk about Azure, okay? What is Azure today? And Azure today is the second largest cloud provider. We have 63 plus regions worldwide, which is like, whoa. When I say a region, it's not a data center, okay? Because one region, usually, at least the big ones, have way more than just one data center. And we also have 160,000 miles of fiber and subsea cable, which again, it's like basically very cool number. And even when you don't have regions near you or even in your country, usually there's always an edge site very, very near you, and some of the stuff can be responded and can be achieved via those edge sites, okay? Also, if you have the need, basically there is ways to put and connect your company into the private Microsoft backbone that we were talking about, though, that very large network that today is currently the second largest network in the world, at a speed of 100 gigabits. And to be more precise, we can even get dual, okay, 100 gigabits today, okay? And an average region has 1.6 miles of fiber, okay? So this is just for you guys to see how big, okay, is Azure today. And look, Azure is the number 2 because there is a number 1, which is AWS. I don't have any problems in saying that. We live in a multi-cloud hybrid world, so there's literally not any question with that, okay? What about Azure regions? What is an Azure region? An Azure region is a set of data centers that they are deployed in what we call a latency defined perimeter, because there's like some latency guarantees that we need to give, that we cannot have latencies higher than 2 milliseconds per data center. And they are all those data centers that belong to a single region, they are limited to a single country. So when I say, oh, this region is in the UK, that means all the data centers are in UK soil. This is like super important because we have data residency. We have legal requirements that need to say the data cannot leave the country borders. And like, they don't care, usually, those regulations. If you're using the cloud, if you're using on-prem stuff, for them it's like, use whatever you prefer. We don't care. We care is where the data at rest is. And at rest, the data needs to be within the UK, let's imagine. So in that case, well, we really need to make sure that, yeah, when I choose that region, I know that all the data centers are within the UK, and that happens, okay? The 2 UK regions guarantee that. If I go to Germany, the German regions guarantee that, and so on, okay? And we also have 63 regions worldwide, like I said. More are coming, to be honest. That number is even outdated already, but they still didn't announce it, the page, because now we also have Sweden and we also have Denmark that are still not in the map. And so this will grow. And I think the goal, to be totally honest, is to have, like in Europe, every single country in Europe to have their own Azure region, so that, yeah, we can really, okay, spun up and we don't have this kind of issues like with data residency and things like that, okay? But we have a caveat with all these regions, is that Azure is not all the same. It depends on the regions. So when I go and I start to build something, I'm not all the time, okay, that service that I want is available in every single region. If you're talking about like virtual machines, virtual networks, app services, storage, those are like what we call core Azure services. So for a region to become generally available, which is it's open to the public, it needs to have those services, okay? So those are like core services. But other non-core services like Azure Container Instances, Azure Container Registry, which is about containers, they're not available in every single region. So you really need to, there's a search on the web, projects by Azure region, okay? And you'll find a page where you need to select the region, you select the service that you want, and they will show if it is or not available in those regions, okay? So you need to be careful with that when you're planning some stuff. And this is a map just for you guys that can understand how big Azure is today. And if we zoom here, for example, here in Europe, you see, my God, so many regions that sometimes it's even impossible to really place, the the circle in the correct place because there are like so many. And you see like here, like you see over there, like Italy, for example, it's like over there, and it's like, my God, it's not even it's like with others on top and things like that. So it's getting crowded basically. And so why Azure? Why should you guys, okay, move to Azure? Your companies, why personally, okay, you, okay, should think about moving your career to Azure. Huge demand from customers. So we have like huge demand from customers worldwide on this. I have to confess, I was working yesterday, okay, until 10 p.m. for a customer because I really didn't have time during the day to finish my work because I also was working for another customer. So I have to do like some extra hours. And I still didn't finish everything that I have for that customer. I still need to do some stuff. Well, probably not today because I'm tired, but maybe like Monday morning I need to wake up a little bit more soon than I was hoping for so that I can finish all that stuff for the customer because it's like it's a last minute request and I said, hey, I can do it, but like extra hours, so you have to be patient. But it's like huge, the demand. It's like amazing, okay? Like UK, Europe, United States, when companies, most of them, they're already having projects today to move to the cloud, or they're already on the cloud, or they are considering it today. Is everything going to be moved to the cloud? No, far from that, okay? So at the day of today, and we are in December 2020, okay, I truly believe that today there are workloads that it's not a good idea to migrate to the cloud. Not everything should be migrated to the cloud. Not saying that in 1 year, 2, 3, or 4 years stuff will change. Of course, probably it will. But today the hybrid is the way to do it. Some stuff stays on-prem, other stuff, yeah, makes more sense on the cloud. That's how you should do it, okay? And then this is like super fun to work with, to be honest. Every single project that I do, it's always a different project. So every project that I do, we start to do something, and like imagine migrating stuff for the cloud. We were using a service. Then like 2 years ago, Microsoft, oh, look, there's this new shining service here that is way better to do the assessment phases. And we're like, it's called Azure Migrate, and everyone's like, oh, awesome, let's use that. And we started to use that to do the assessments. Only did the assessments, but the migration was still done with the other one. We were like, ooh, that's cool. And then, oh, now this also does the migration. And everyone was like, oh, awesome. And look, every single project, there's like new features, new services that we can make use of it, making our work better in the end for our customers, making it cheaper to run, faster to deploy. So yeah, we should always, and this constant changing that I personally love, to be honest. And then the pay for what you use. I really believe and I really love this. So this week my team was working in one of the customers, the team was working in a Kubernetes, okay, in a Kubernetes workload. And basically I started to check it. I was like, hey, look, I don't think this will handle the loads, okay, at the highest peak that the customer wants. And the team was like, oh, don't worry, Tiago, it will handle. I was like, okay, but I'm not trusting on your word, guys. I will just try it out. And I just spun up a 100 server cluster. Okay, so 100 servers of, I think was like 8 cores, 64 gigs of RAM. I tested, I put some load stuff on there, and then yeah, it failed. And I say, haha, see, I told you so. I don't like to say this, but yeah, that's what it is. And then we got like insights, get it? And all that data that we got, all telemetry data that we got, yeah, that's what we wanted. And I basically just used that, and then now the team is fixing, okay, all the findings that we found there, because that stuff failed. And it's like, who has 100 servers on-prem lying there around and, oh yeah, you can use it. No one has that. Let's face it, okay? No one has that kind of stuff. But look, we had it because it's Azure. And of course, I paid for sure, yes. But I just paid the usage that I have, which is a couple of hours. After that, I just kill everything. I'm not paying anymore. So we still paid the good chunk. But yeah, the customer is happy to pay because we're able to test kind of a near real scenario, okay? What about how do I start to work with Azure? Azure Portal. Okay, so this is the place where we basically start to create stuff. I can do stuff in the Azure Portal, and of course, look, if you want, you can also do PowerShell. It creates automation on things for sure. It's pretty cool. I can do Azure CLI, which is more for people that have a background with Bash. Okay, Azure PowerShell more for people that have a background with PowerShell, as the name says. So you have options. That's the idea. I have persons that they come from a Linux background. So they're like, oh, PowerShell, no. Like, yeah, for sure, no. Just use Bash. Oh, can I do in Bash? And their eyes just shine like, ooh, Bash. And they're like, oh, this I understand. I was like, yeah, so there are options because Azure, it's not just for Microsoft workloads. It's for both Windows and Linux, whatever, okay? One or the other. We really don't care what people are running as long as they're running stuff on Azure. That's all good. I can also use a mobile application, which is, okay, we can use it, but to be honest, it's not the best tool ever. And then we have client libraries. So you can code in C# using the Fluent API. There's a bunch of SDKs for like languages like C#, Node.js, Go, Python, Java, PHP. And you can just use all of that, okay, in code to create virtual machines, create virtual networks, create apps, you name it. And you can code something that connects to Azure and just creates all that stuff for you. It's like super cool what I can do with that. So with saying that, I'll just open the Azure Portal now, and I'll just create here, okay, a demo resource. Okay, so let me just open here the Azure Portal. Okay, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create, okay, an Azure resource, and this is what you have here. Basically, is the Azure Portal. Okay, I can see here there's a menu here that I have like a bunch of favorite services that I commonly use in here. And I can click here where it says create a new resource, and I go to something that we call the Azure Marketplace. Now on the Azure Marketplace, okay, I can start to create a service. And it's like, what service do I want to create? Let's say a storage account, okay? So storage account, let's just start to type. I have IntelliSense, oh, autocomplete, yes, there you go. Let's click create. And now there's like a bunch of questions and a bunch of screens here. So this is the first screen, the basics tab. I have the networking tab, data protection, and we have like, see, a bunch of screens in here. So let's go for the basics. And the basics, I need to say that, hey, this is my subscription where I want to drop my stuff. And I will just say AZDDD, okay, there you go. And now I just need to say, okay, what is the name of my storage account? So I'll just type my storage. And now, oh, oops, I get an error. Ah, what's the error? The storage account name, my storage is already taken. Ah, so what happens is in Azure, we have certain services that they have what's called, okay, that you need to have a globally unique name. Okay, so you need to find a name that it is basically available, but it's like for all the world, it needs to be unique. Sometimes it's not easy, but it's also not that hard, to be totally honest. Okay, so you see DDD 2020, it's available. So I'm like, oh, okay, then I can choose here, for example, UK South as a location for this, and then I have a bunch of other options in here. Like I said, networking, data protection. look, I'm not going to review today everything, or we are just going to deliver a session just on Azure Storage to review every single detail, which is an awesome session, to be honest with you, but it will just take us a long time for this. Okay. So now let's just wait for this to be okay, to be created. Okay. So there you go. I can now go to the resource and ta-da! There you go. I'm in the resource in here. Cool. So this is how cool and how easy it is to create resources. I can also go to home, and if I go to resource groups, which you can also in the navigate section here, you always have this here. You find your resource group, which is this AZDDD, and now you can find all the resources that belong to this resource group in here. So again, also pretty cool, this option. Okay. This is creating this with the Azure Portal. Okay, now let's talk about tools and cool stuff that I have to do my work. There's a tool called the Cloud Shell, where you can execute basic PowerShell and Bash scripts straight from the Azure Portal. So this is accessible from the Azure Portal. It's also accessible from the shell. The Azure mobile app that I said is not that good in terms of features, but then it has the Cloud Shell, which is like ta-da! It's like super cool. That's the feature why I use that. And then also has the Windows terminal. This is a new application for Windows. You can go to the Marketplace and you can find that in the Windows Store, where you can find the Windows terminal, which then you can have tabs for PowerShell, for the command line, for Bash, etc. It's a very cool tool that we have. I just need to click over there. Okay, on the top you have that terminal icon, and then bam, something will show up there. So, but let's just see this. Okay, and let's just see this here in real life. So I'm the Azure Portal. I click over there on the top. See, so it's basically that icon thing over there, and then ta-da! There you go. Okay, you get the Azure Cloud Shell in here. I can resize this a little bit, or not, and now I can just do like AZ, for example, account set -- subscription. I just need to change this to a subscription that I have, Contoso train, because this is defaulting to another subscription. Okay. It helps when you type stuff correctly. Okay. And now I can just do AZ group list. This will list all the resource groups of that subscription. And you see, oh, it gets like this stuff in a JSON. I don't know about you guys, but I can read JSON pretty well, but not everyone is a JSON geek. So maybe some people prefer to have the output in a more readable way, like, for example, a table. And if you see this in a table, you see, oh, there you go. This is my, okay, this is my resource group that I just created. Okay, and you see UK South as the region for that. So this is like pretty cool. What you can look, and now I can even create here like AZ, like storage account, create. Okay, and now you just need to put what? A name, DDD 2021, for example, and then a location for this. You just say UK South, and now a resource group for this, and I'll just say AZDDD. And if you do this, yeah, this will just basically start to create basically a storage account. So what's the error? Need to put a SKU. Don't think so. Standard local redundant storage. No, that was not it. AZ storage account, create. I know. Dash name. I just put it one dash. Okay. This is Linux based, so it always needs the two dashes. Okay. The SKU is not needed, okay? I was just trying, maybe they had changed this, but not. It was just a name. See, it's running, okay? So it's like super easy to create this kind of stuff. Cool. There we go. Now we have a new storage account being created here. More stuff. What do we have more stuff to get started here? I can also do, and so something called ARM templates to deploy resources. And like, this is like JSON. I'm not going to enter into dark details about this. It's just like getting to know, oh, there's also that option. And it's like something like this. Then you have here, I have here some parameters section where I have this storage account type and this location. I have another section that is the variables, and then I still have, okay, some your resources. This is, I'm deploying a storage account, and you see here, oh, what's the name of the storage account? Oh, it's the variable storage account name. So if we go back one slide, it's this variable that we have here. And then I have here, oh, the location is this parameter, the SKU is that parameter. And then you can tweak stuff like this. I can put here in the end of this resource over there, comma, and then just put another similar block. And now I will create a web app, and now I will create a SQL database, or a virtual machine, or a virtual network, you name it. So all the Azure resources are able to be created using ARM templates. How can I generate this? Okay, so you can generate this using the Azure Quick Starts. That's a very good help. I will show you this. I can use Notepad, Azure Portal, Visual Studio, or Visual Studio Code. Usually, Visual Studio Code is the big advantage to do and to use this. If I show you this, okay, if you see this here, so if we go to GitHub and you just search GitHub, okay, Quick Start templates, you have this link, okay, where we have here literally, okay, hundreds, okay, of, whoops, it's not this one. This is for, oh my God, I found the repo of someone. Azure, there you go, it's this one here. Oh, this is the place. Yeah, there you go. So you have your hundreds, okay, of ARM templates already created. Okay, it's like amazing. So let me find here, like, oh, Logic app create. So you can click here, and you just go, oh, Azure deploy, and then ta-da, you have here, see, a template already created for you. So it's really awesome, the stuff that I can have in here. So it's really cool what I have here with this. Okay. And so with this, we get to a point where I like to talk about what are the cloud models that we have. And we have on-prem, and usually, look, I spend, when I'm training people, we have like huge discussions around this slide, but today I'm just needed to keep it short. But we have on-prem, which means I run everything in my company. That's it, okay? Then, of course, I can have what? Infrastructure as a service, where when we talk about infrastructure as a service means I'm running, okay, on Azure, and I'm running stuff like virtual machines and things like that. So there's like a bunch of stuff that I don't need to worry about anymore, mainly like the hardware bits. Okay, so I just go, oh, I want a VM. There's a network. Yes, there is a network, but it's a software-defined network. And just go there, you just do that, done. It's easy. But look, I still need to manage the virtual machines, patching stuff, and all of that. And let's face it, we all understand it needs to be done. Someone needs to do that for sure. Not even going to basically to lie about that. Yeah, so for sure that. But what do you get with that? Let's face it, just don't get anything out of that, right? So that's the thing. We don't get that much because we're using that. So we can go to platform as a service, where this is what we're going to talk about next in our second part of the session. So we have like app services and things like that, that very easily I can just build an application and deploy an application there. So that's like app service, storage accounts, SQL databases. So all of those were services that they are managed by the platform. I just need to tweak them, configure them, but then it's there. I don't need to talk about security. I don't need to care about patching them, all of that stuff. It's done by the vendor. I still even have software as a service like Office 365, Salesforce, Dynamics, so stuff like that. So let's talk about app service. So this is like the big service when it comes to, oh, let's deploy a web application, because the app service, it's a service to deploy web applications, REST APIs, and mobile backends. Fully managed, can go up to 100 instances, supports a bunch of languages and frameworks like .NET, .NET Core, Ruby, Node.js, PHP, Python, Java. Okay, so all of them are supported. Those instances, they can be Windows or Linux based. And we all know, look, there are platforms and languages over there on that list that they work better on Linux. Let's face it, okay? Period. So run Linux. Oh, but I prefer Linux because run Linux. But I prefer Windows. Run Windows. Look, the platform and the app service accepts both. Okay. What are the highlights that when I need to show this to a customer, I usually use? Data center coverage. We have worldwide data center coverage. So imagine, oh, I need to build an application that needs to be globally distributed. There we go. I need to run background jobs and respond to events and things like that. Azure Functions, web jobs, they will do the work. But I need a custom domain. Use custom domains. We also have auto scaling features, okay? We also have deployment slots. So I can deploy some stuff to one slot and then move things around and stuff like that. Get it? I also can very easily integrate Azure DevOps or GitHub with this and basically have something that, yes, I basically can deploy a web application automatically, okay, with this. It's super easy, okay, to achieve something like that. And then the integration that I have with other services like Azure CDN, Content Delivery Networks, Traffic Manager, Front Door, they all integrate directly with the app service. So basically, web apps work in the app service. They are a scalable hosting for web applications. It's super fast, super easy to host an app on the cloud. I can integrate this with Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code. I have SSL, TLS, and custom domain support, built-in authentication, so all of that. So let's just do a demo right now, exactly on that, okay? So if I just change this in here. So let's just go here and we can close this one. Now I'll just go here to create a new resource, and I'll just choose a web application. Okay, and when I choose a new web app, I'll just say I want to deploy to that, okay, to that resource group, and I'll just say ddd2020.azurewebsites.net. Then it's asked, hey, what do you want to deploy? A container, a Docker container, or do you want to deploy code? I'll just say, yeah, code, and I want to deploy .NET 3.1. And then is I say, okay, in which region do you want to deploy this? Oh, UK South. And then it's just going to tell me like, hey, I need to create an app service plan. I was like, yeah, for sure. And now you guys ask, okay, what is an app service plan? Okay, so let's just check here, okay, what an app service plan is. So it's a way to logically grouping applications within an Azure subscription. This is your billing layer too. It's what you're going to pay. You can have several, and basically what you have is like something like this. I have an app service plan. Then you see I can have several web applications. They will all share the same compute resources because I define those compute resources on the app service plan level. And this is some, okay, of the web applications that I have. I have Share It Free, that those two, they run on Share It Compute, which, okay, can be nice to try something out so that you don't have to pay. Okay, not saying no, but for production scenarios, you need to go to something like standard, premium, and things like that. Okay, so it's over there that you really you really get the benefits out of this. Okay, or else you're not going to see the benefits of this. Okay, so yes, for sure. And then you even have the isolated that gives you extra features that I'm not going to reference that one today. Okay, but let's just get back to our demo. So if now I'm here, so if you see, I can change the size of this, and this will show basically what I was saying. If you go to dev and test, you see here the free, the share it. I have the basic one. If you click see additional options, you have also other basics, but different sizes. So the virtual machines in the back of this will be different in terms of size. The first one is 1 core, 175 gigs of RAM, so probably a not so big virtual machine in the back, but I can go to 4 cores and 7 gigs of RAM. If I go to production, you can go to P1 V3 or a P3 V3. A P3 V3, if you see this, you get, it's a 8 CPUs machine. You get 32 gigs of RAM. So it's already a good machine for a web server. Okay, and each of the CPUs in here, okay, they correspond to almost 2 CPUs of the basic one, because these CPUs are way faster than the other ones. Okay, so this is the difference that you're like, and you're like, whoa, yeah, that's like a super fast virtual machine when comparing with the other, because this is like 8 CPUs times 198 ACUs. ACU stands for Azure Compute Unit. Okay, but well, I'm going for a P1. Okay, a P1 V2. That's more than enough here. I can put monitoring with application insights, and definitely you should. But to make it faster to create my resources here, and because it's not on the, we're not going to talk about that today. I'm not going to create that, but definitely check out application insights. It gives you telemetry data of your web applications, and it can be really, really useful to build and to get all that data out of your app applications. Okay. So now this is being created. So let's just wait here a second for this to be created, and there you go. Okay, see, it is done. We have our app, and if I click browse, you will see the landing page for app services, and I'm like, oh, awesome, app services. And now you tell me like, okay, great. Now what can I do? Well, imagine that I'm a developer, so I'll just fire up the full feature Visual Studio here, and I'll just say, hey, I want to create a new project, right? And I'll just say, I'll choose a web application project template. So there you go. Next, I will call this DDD 2020. I'll just say create. And now I'll just choose, yeah, .NET 3.1, no authentication, no Docker support, create. That's exactly what I want. So this is my web application. I can even, let's just go to index, and I'll just tweak this a little bit. So I'll just say here, hey, welcome DDD, okay, 2020. Okay, so something like this. I'll just save this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going here on the Solution Explorer, and I'm right-clicking on the project, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this. And when you publish this, So you get this window here to publish, and I'll just zoom this, okay? And you see I have like a bunch of options here to publish stuff out, right? And you have the traditional ones. The traditional ones is what? Is basically this one's in here, okay? But I also have like Azure. That's the one that I'm going to choose. So I'm going for Azure, and now I'm going for, let's just say, Azure App Service Windows. That's the one that I chose. So this will load my subscription. Let's see if this loads again. Yeah, there you go. Oh my God, this sometimes is so annoying. There you go. Why do I have a stream demo here? Okay. I can just select this DDD 2020, which is exactly the one that I want. And I'll just go and I'll just say finish. I needed to click publish too. So when you did that first part, I just went to Azure and he downloaded, okay, my publishing profile. This is happening because I already have in Visual Studio my credentials there, okay? I didn't demo that. I don't want to remove the credentials and to be able to configure my Visual Studio ever again. But you just need to put credentials that can get to your Azure, and then this will happen. And then I'm just publishing. Then I need to click publish, and then this is just publishing my web application into that, okay, into that place. And now you see, if I close this one, this is what I was showing. If I refresh the page, ta-da! You see. It's a dummy page. Welcome DDD 2020. But you guys get the idea, right? And then you said, oh, but what about putting a custom domain on that? Is it easy to put a custom domain over there? Yeah, for sure. So I already have a custom domain that's called azcontoso.com. And I also have it on Azure. You do not need to have this on Azure, okay? And let me just delete this entry in here because this was from a previous demo. There you go. So I'll just go here. I go to under settings. There is a page called custom domains. I click add a custom domain. What is the custom domain that you want to type in here? And I just say www.azcontoso. And it's just telling me like, hey, look, you have to say if you really have the ownership of that domain or not. So first of all, you need a CNAME pointing there. Okay, so add a record set, and I'll just say if I want www, I want what? I want a CNAME entry, and my CNAME entry is over there. Great. The second bit, if you go back, is I need to prove with this token that you put there that you really own the domain. So let's just put another one here. And it's called AS user ID. And now this is a text record, okay? And the text should be that one. This was all in here, by the way, okay? See, type text, type CNAME, you have it all in here. And if I validate stuff now, you will see, oh, green. I click add a custom domain, and it says it failed. Why did you fail? Let's try again, okay? azcontoso.com. I click validate, and I click add the custom domain. Now I don't need to do it anymore because now it worked. I don't know, something. So there you go. Now I have this, and it says, oh, it's not secure because you don't have an SSL state. So I can add a binding, and I can import an app certificate. And I have this app certificate also in here. That's already, it's also an Azure service. An app certificate, which is a TLS 1. So basically SSL TLS certificate. And I just need to do the binding, and I do this, and it will configure this to also support, okay, HTTPS now. I can even go to TLS SSL settings and say, hey, I only accept HTTPS. I don't accept HTTP connections. So all of this, yes, we can do from here. And if I now open, let me just open this in the basically in the private window, and I do this, you see, welcome DDD, etc. You click here, you click here, and you can see the certificate. Okay, certificate is valid, and There you go. There's this certificate issued by GoDaddy, but this was created on inside Azure, okay? But Azure has a partnership with GoDaddy in order to make this kind of stuff happen. So this is like how cool and how easy it is, okay, to basically to create something, okay, out of so easy, right? It's like super easy to do something like this. I still have some stuff here that I wanted to show you, which is, look, there are other services, okay? And this is fast, okay? So like 2 minutes. I have like Azure Active Directory, which is the cloud identity, okay? So you can integrate authentication and authorization with Azure AD. I also have stuff like, okay, like here, basically Azure Storage. Azure Storage is like super cool, okay, also to store PDFs, images, pictures, etc. Azure Networking is huge, okay? We have a bunch of stuff in Azure Networking, not just the VNets, load balancers, application gateways, firewalls. So there's a bunch of services that you can also make use in here. Even if it's like, but I'm a developer. Yeah, front door application gateways. You clearly will need to interact with those and understand how they work for a multi-instance scenario and things like that. And then, of course, in the Azure Compute, okay, in the Azure Compute world, we have a bunch of virtual machines or scale sets. You need to understand how they behave. You're not going to do administration on this for sure, okay? There's Azure administrators that will take care of that, but you need to understand how they work and all of that. And of course, the last bit, it's Azure SQL databases, a managed relational database server. So you can do also amazing things with this in a totally managed way. That's all. Okay, so thank you very much. It was a big pleasure to be in here. My name is Tiago Costa, and this is how you can get started with Azure. Thank you.